So welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to create our second project using the useState hook. In the previous tutorial we looked at how to use the useState hook to change the name of a web page. So in this case we are going to create a simple project which is going to be a counter, and we want to use it to change the values or the count of the counter. So for that reason, we are going to start by creating a p tag here, p tag, and create a variable count and 3 buttons that we are going to use to change the count. So in this case I can copy these buttons 2 more times, and the first button is going to be decrement. The second button is going to reset the count, so reset, and the third button is going to increase the value of the count, so increment. So because I know this one is going to result into an error, let me comment it for now and save the changes so that we can see the 3 buttons. So this is what we are going to have. We have the 3 buttons. When we click on the buttons, they cannot do anything because we have not added anything, or we have not added the useState hook to them. So for us in order to make these buttons functional, we are going to include the useState hook. So we are going to create a state variable here, const equals useState, and we are going to set our initial value as 0. So this is going to be our initial value. Within this bracket we are going to have a count and a function that we are going to use to set the count. So set count. So now I can uncomment this line of code and save the changes, and now we should be able to see the count. Our count is here, so our count is 0 as we have set it here. So this 0 is the one that is reflected here. So if we want to change the value of the counter, then we need to add the event listeners into these 3 buttons. So in our case we are going to use the onClick event listener. So on click, we want to have a function that will change the value of the counter. So this is the function that is going to set the count. And because in our first case we wanted to set the count to decrement the counter, so we are going to have count minus 1. I know this is not the best practice to use the count this way, but because this is an introductory tutorial, it is going to remain this way. But in the forthcoming tutorials, I am going to show you how to address this problem, because I know this may result into some challenges later. So let's save the changes and click on the button to see whether now it is functional. So by now the decrementer button should be able to decrease the value of the count by 1 like this. So whenever you click it, you can decrease the value of the count by 1. But the rest of the buttons are still not functional because we have not added event listener to them. In order for them to make them functional, then I'm simply going to copy this line of code because it is relatively the same, and use it in the reset button, to set the count to 0, because we want our count to be 0 here. So I'm simply going to change it to 0 and save the changes. So by now when we click this reset button, we should be able to reset our count to 0 like this one. So this is going to reset our count to 0. When we decrement it, we reset it to 0 using this button. This button is still not functional because we have not added an event listener to it. So we are going to simply paste that this line of code here and make some few changes. In our case, this one is going to increase the value by 1, so we add 1. So we save, and now our increment button should now be functional like this. So it is going to increase the value of the count by 1. This one is going to reset to 0, increase it. This one is going to decrease it, and this one is going to reset it to 0. So this is how we use, or you use the useState hook to create a counter project. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.